Today, I want to talk about something that I know so many of us, particularly in our 20s, struggle with. And it's that feeling of being lost, feeling behind, or feeling like you're on the wrong path. Welcome to The Balance Era, a podcast for the women rewriting the rules. Here, we leave behind the pressure to be perfect and step into a life built on self-love, softness, strength, and intention. I'm your host, Madison, a former overachiever, fitness girl, and lifelong perfectionist, learning how to slow down, show up, and trust myself again. Each week, we'll be talking about what it really means to live in alignment, from body image and burnout to confidence, femininity, and chasing big dreams without losing yourself in the process. This is your space to breathe, to feel seen, and to remember you don't have to choose between ambition and peace. Welcome to the Balance Era. You're right on time. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Balance Era podcast. Today I want to share a perspective that has really helped me navigate this point in my life, and it is realizing that there's actually no such thing as the wrong path. There is one path that is meant for you, and even when it feels messy and confusing and frustrating, every season of your life is guiding you exactly where you need to go. So if you've been questioning yourself or comparing your timeline to everyone else's, this episode is going to be for you. With social media these days, it is so easy to feel behind. Whether it's career, whether it's relationships, whether it's money or moving out, all these different things, it is so easy to compare what you have to what someone else has. And I personally have struggled with this, feeling like, okay, I'm 25, I should be at this point in my career, I should be married, I should own a home, I should do all of these things. And I started to think, like, why do I think this? Why am I in such a rush? I am 25. Let's say I'm a quarter of the way through my life. Why am I in such a rush? But what I've realized is that most people in their 20s feel lost at some point because no one's life is linear. It never just follows a strict plan. It doesn't go to plan. There's things that you can't control. It's so easy to feel behind because society makes us feel like we need to have certain things figured out by a certain age. But the truth is, there is no such thing as being behind. Let's start by talking about the illusion of being behind. Like, what does that even mean? And where did this even come from? I think the first one that comes to everyone's mind is the societal timelines that have been drilled into our brains. So, graduate college by 22, have your job by 23, get married by 25, house by 27, start popping out kids, all of these different things. But these deadlines and these, standards are so outdated. But like I mentioned previously, social media, it just makes it so easy to compare your life to everyone else's. So when you pop on Instagram and see your favorite influencer buying their new home or talking about how much money they're making, or you pop on TikTok and you see someone's morning routine in their super amazing aesthetic home or their cars or whatever it is, it's so easy to feel like you're failing. But what you are seeing on social media is someone else's highlight reel. They are choosing what to put online. You might see all of the fun, flashy things, but you don't see what's going on behind the scenes. You don't see their struggles. And I think it's so easy to forget that when we are just scrolling, consuming content, and looking into everyone else's lives. Let's do a little reframe and imagine life as a book. So everyone has their own book, okay? We all have our own chapters. We all have our own pages, our own storylines. Everyone's book is different. But let's say right now you're in chapter 4 in your book and you're looking at someone else's chapter 12. You're like, oh my gosh, I feel so behind because I'm not there. But that is not your book. Their chapter 12 is not in your book. You're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be in your chapter 4 right now. And so if you can find peace in realizing that your life will look different than someone else's, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or that you're behind. You are on your storyline in your chapter book. The key thing I want you to take away here is stop measuring your progress by someone else's timeline. by someone else that you see on social media, by the societal timelines that were brainwashed into us. Brainwashed into us, is that even a saying? That we were brainwashed to believe that needed to be true. But just stop measuring your progress, your success, your worth based on what someone else decided for you. Let's talk about why you're never on the wrong path. I believe that you have one path and that is your own. There is no such thing as the wrong one. So I see every detour and everything that doesn't go right as a lesson. So every job that didn't work out, every failed relationship, whether that was romantic or a friendship, every mistake that you made, they all can teach you what you don't want, which in turn gets you closer to realizing what you do want and what you do enjoy and what brings you happiness and fulfillment. And if you can start to see setbacks as redirections, you're going to go a long way. Because if you can see that losing that job is devastating and that sucks, but it pushes you into your dream career and into finding out what you do enjoy doing, you wouldn't have been able to be pushed into that if you didn't go through that job loss in the first place. Same thing with breakups. Like, breakups are such a horrible pain. They're so sad, so emotional. You feel like your life is over, but it often is opening the door for the right person, and you have to go through that pain and that hurt and that setback in order to be redirected towards the correct person for you and that person that is going to fill your cup and is going to be your life partner. It's so easy to focus on how you're feeling in the moment when you lost your job and you were devastated, or when you're going through that breakup and you're like, oh my gosh, my heart has never hurt this much. I just want to be single forever because this is stupid. Like, it's so hard to realize in that moment what this could be leading the future version of you towards, whether it is getting more in alignment with your dream career or putting you in the position to meet the right person for you. So I want you to remember that what feels like wasted time is never actually wasted time if you learn something from it. And you can choose to learn something from everything that you go through if you just take a second to pause, think, reflect, and look at whatever thing that it is that you're going through. That is one of the many reasons why I love journaling, because I can take myself out of each moment that I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed or frustrated about and look at the bigger picture of things and like the grand scheme of things. And it's just so helpful. Let's talk about navigating seasons of life, because there are so many different seasons and each season can have a different purpose. I'm going to talk about 3 different seasons, starting with growth season. This can be all about learning, hustling, and building. So this could be launching a new business, going to school, busting your butt at work, like grow, expand, learn, evolve, all of these things. A rest season is where you need to slow down, heal, reflect. And that is definitely where I was in the beginning of 2025. I needed to slow down, heal, and reflect from lots of different things that were happening in my life. And then a transition season, which is where I'm at right now, honestly, is it feels uncertain, but it's often the bridge to something new. Because if you feel like something needs to change and you're just out of alignment with what you're doing, that's for a reason. It's because it's not for you. And so if you can push through the transition season and push through that discomfort of being uncertain, you can reflect and look at what you've been learning over the past few seasons and what the main issue is that you're running into in your current season, whether it's feeling stuck, feeling burnt out, feeling sad. You can dive a little deeper into it to figure out what the lesson is that you're supposed to be learning here. So in classic MJ fashion, I'm going to give you a journal prompt. Actually, I'll give you 2. First journal prompt is, what is this season teaching me? And so whatever season you're in now, take a minute to pause and reflect and see what you're supposed to be learning in this season. And it could be many different things, or it could just be one big like aha moment where you're like, this is the big thing that I'm supposed to be learning. The next journal prompt is, what am I being guided towards? So whether it's that career that you can't stop thinking about, you're so burnt out, maybe you need to slow down and reset. But whatever it is, journal about what you feel like you're being guided toward and what you're being pulled to. And also in MJ fashion, we're going to talk a little bit about gratitude, because I speak on gratitude all the time and the importance of finding good no matter what, because there's always good in something. And I made an Instagram post the other day. I'm going to pull it up actually so I can directly quote it. The quote was, "It's not about pretending that things are easy. It's about finding meaning in the hard." So it's not like the whole world is falling apart around you and you're like, oh, life is good. Because it's okay to acknowledge that things might suck in that moment. But if you can find one thing to be grateful for, whether it's your health or the roof over your head or the clean water that you get to drink or your friends and family or whatever it is, find one thing. Because if you can find one small thing and small win to celebrate, even in the hard seasons, it's going to help keep you going. And just like seasons in the year, each one serves a purpose. I talked about this in my Reset Your Life podcast episode, but each season serves its purpose. And so just like, for example, winter doesn't mean that nothing is happening, but things are just growing underneath the surface so that when spring comes around, they can bloom and blossom. And then summertime, they're popping off, they're living their best life. And then fall, things kind of have to fall apart. The leaves have to fall off the trees a little bit and go back into winter. And then that cycle repeats. I want to give some reminders for anyone that's feeling lost, because it can feel so isolating and so frustrating when you're like, I don't know what the next thing for me to do is, but I don't like feeling this way. First thing I want you to do is redefine success. Determine, what does success look like for you? Not for your parents, not for your friends, not for social media, but what does success look like for you? And this is not just going to be a prompt that you write about quickly in the morning time and just go about your day, but I really want you to think about this one. Spend a few days on it even, and just really go deep down to your core and your values and what you like to do, what feels good for you, and determine, what does success look like for you. Another reminder is that I want you to celebrate the small wins. And so instead of waiting for the big break, the big thing to happen, honor your daily progress. So focus on celebrating getting your butt to the gym and showing up even on the days you didn't feel like it. Celebrate applying for jobs. Celebrate cooking dinner at home instead of going out to eat. And celebrate these small wins. Celebrate when you chose to show up for yourself, even when you didn't feel like doing it. Because when you can start building up these small wins, it creates momentum to keep you going, especially in the moments when you're not feeling like it. One thing I would suggest for everyone to do is to have a daily grounding habit, and this can be different for everyone. For me, it's journaling. It could also be movement or meditation or morning walks or prayer. Whatever it is, find something that feels good for you, that you enjoy to do, and that fits in your schedule, because everyone has different schedules, different responsibilities and things that they need to get done. And so I know having a 12-step morning routine and doing all these things perfect is not going to be practical for everyone. So finding one daily grounding habit, even if it's just stepping outside for 5 minutes without your phone and just being in nature for 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes, okay? Or getting a little walk in, like I said, or having a prayer moment. But whatever it is, find something that helps you to recenter, refocus, get grounded, and just get realigned with you. And a few affirmations that you can repeat to yourself too, especially in the moments where you're feeling overwhelmed and stuck and frustrated and lost, are, I am on time for my life. I trust the timing of my journey. I am on my path. My life might look different than everyone else's, and that's okay. I am pursuing what success, what fulfillment means to me, and that is what is important. And just reminding yourself that your life does not have to look like everyone else's. So the next time that you're sitting on social media, scrolling through, and you start to feel lost and behind and like you're just not doing enough, take a pause, set your phone down. First of all, that is my number one tip. Is for me, I find that whenever I feel most behind in life, it is because of something that I see on social media. So set your phone down, get off social media, and either put on your walking shoes and get outside for a little walk, or pull out your journal if you want to journal about it, or even pull out your phone and do a voice memo. But just process what you just saw and why it made you feel triggered and upset and behind. So if you saw someone that just got a new job and you started to feel behind or frustrated, what is that telling you? Okay, it's telling you, I feel like I need to be doing that. Pause Is that you thinking that you need to be doing that? Do you not like your current job, or is it like a societal standard that you feel like you need to hit to have that certain job? If it is that you don't enjoy your job, okay, let's start looking for different jobs. But it doesn't have to be the crazy big thing that everyone on social media is going to celebrate, but what is in alignment with you? Because one thing that I've learned too is that achievement without alignment is suffering. And so you could be working a job that is not for you, but you keep doing all these really big things, having all these big achievements, and feeling let down and stuck and behind because it's out of alignment for you. So if you can pause and touch base and see, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Why am I chasing this career? Why am I feeling like I need to buy this house right now? Why am I rushing? If you can pause and look at the why are you doing it, and if it really is for you and what you want to do, great. That's an alignment for you. Keep doing it. But if it is for society and for everyone else, because that's what a lot of it can be fueled by, take a pause and acknowledge that first of all and realize, okay, I have been putting this pressure on myself because I feel like it's what I have to do because that's what society says. But that's not actually true. And if you allow yourself to live your life based on societal standards and how your life looks to other people and what you feel like you need to be doing, I can guarantee you will at some point in your life have this resentment towards everyone else around you and towards life in general because you're not doing what is in alignment for you. So the sooner that you can realize that and realize you have the power to change it, but you need to reassess a lot of things. But first of all, reassess why you're even doing what you're doing and determine what is actually important for you. Do those two things first and then decide, okay, where do I want to go next? What is my next step? You don't have to have the answers for everything figured out. You don't have to have your whole career path planned out or your whole strategy for anything. You don't have to have the whole thing figured out. But a lot of the anxiety that comes with being in your 20s and feeling behind is not having a certain thing yet, whether it's your career figured out or your home or your family or your significant other or whatever it is, not having that figured out. And it's the stress of needing to try and figure it out. And so if you can take a pause, look at each area of your life, whether it's your job or your finances or your relationships, and look at, this is my big picture. Let's scale it back a little bit. If you have an idea for your big picture, if you don't, that's fine. Look at the next thing that you want to do and then scale it back and look at where you're at right now and find what's in that in between there. If you do want to find a new job, let's start looking for jobs that are in alignment with what you want to do with your career and start applying, or start looking for mentors, or start getting around that so you can see if that is actually meant for you. I want to recap today's episode by reminding you that you are not behind, you're not lost, and you're not failing. You're just learning, and you are on your path, which probably will look different than everyone else's, and that is okay. This week, I encourage you to ask yourself, what is this season teaching me? This current season, whether it's growth or rest or transition, whatever it is, what is this season teaching me? And I want to remind you that your 20s are not about being perfect, but they're about becoming that version of you that reaches their full potential. So wherever you're at right now in your journey, I hope that you can take a deep breath and remind yourself that you're not late, you're not behind, and you're not lost. You're exactly where you're meant to be, and you are on your path. If this episode resonated with you, I would love it if you shared it on Instagram and tagged me, either Madison.Johnson or the Balance Era podcast, either one. But tag me, let me know if you learned anything, and also send it to a friend in their 20s, because I think that we can all benefit from realizing that we're not alone in our struggles and that it's okay to not have it all figured out. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for listening to the Balance Era podcast, and I will talk to you next week for the final episode of season 1 of the Balance Era. I cannot believe it's already here.